to you, people of God and people of sports. Welcome to the space where we say sports with a slice of sass. Yeah, jam together. On top of this particular Lundus, I can say you can call me your Olorogo one of sports, Olorogo, our swagene, Chinyalup Tracy Chappelle, your energy chief, your Kugbe, two of Odu Kingdom. But you will call me Chief Swore for this place. I'm alongside my sis, the lady who breaks down the stats with the facts. Cece. Ghana, yeah, woo, woo! Thank you! Cece, what's popping? Welcome to the Cece and Chief Swore show, baby.
I think I'm loving the energy and the vibe, coming from.
Why you not gonna love her? Sure.
It's great to do this with you, Swore. Finally, I mean, this is great. Yes.
Yes, indeed. See, I love the fact that it's the joy that we are about. We are digging the joy. And honestly, let's start with within the pop. What's popping? Over the weekend, what made you smile? Man, woman. Let's start with woman. Which woman make you smile this weekend? For sports?
This show is all about positive energy. So that's what we are sending out.
If you enter Chelsea match, I'll bite you. I say I direct you well.
Positive energy.
Thank you.
And we are talking about the big things that happen at the weekend. So when you send out positive energy,
yes,
of course, you also drop some things. But first, we talked about our girls. Yes, let's start from our girls first. I'll come down to Chelsea, but that will be later. I know that's going to dampen it. You don't want to start
the power of Christ
energy powered show, with 12 goals conceded and 2 scored, and also getting it all. But then this is the big deal. Now Jennifer Echegine celebrated her birthday March 22nd.
Yeah, baby.
Yesterday was her birthday, and of course during the week she had to set a pace in celebrating that birthday. And what did she do? Against Dion, what did they do? In the
Tawai
League Cup, she scored 2 goals, and those 2 goals was just enough for them to reach the semi-final of the French League Cup. So that is a big shout out to Jennifer for what she did at the weekend. Also, of course, another girl that also made me proud is Rashida Ajibade. Yes, I always talk about her. Remember what happened last weekend? When they came to Africa, Côte d'Ivoire precisely. In the
Africa, when they go Africa, you need to call out
the first time.
For the first time, Africa, our princesses of Africa.
And so these 2 girls were there, but they couldn't inspire their team. Yes, they came as a substitute also in that game. But then this weekend, Rashida Ajibade came on as a sub, a super sub, I will call her, scoring her first league goal. She has scored in the Champions League before, also making an assist. But in 11 appearances, this is her first league goal. And in that particular French League game, she scored against Montpellier. That actually propelled, PSG to win that game 3-2. So these 2 girls were instrumental in their teams in the French Liga at the weekend. So that's actually made my weekend.
I support that one. That's a good one.
That's a good
one.
The
only thing I'll say is that the coach, they need to take dressing. They are using our Africa best to shine. Let's get Mr. Camera, Mr. Director. Let me warn you 2 times and let me warn you once. Anytime you are using Rashida Ajibade, you need to put some respect in her name.
Okay, are we talking about the coach now? Are they
give person warning? How you go to jump better the warning?
Stop the message.
No, director are talking. No,
director should send the message to the coach, right?
See, let me warn you, Mr. Coach. Mr. Coach, mind yourself, mind your thoughts, mind your speech. If you do anyhow with our Rashida Ajibade, you get uppercut. It's not just the fact that this girl has been doing some good stuff with her scholarship programs. By the way, she lined up a few people that, are going to get solid education as it's supposed to be. That's captain's doings. On the pitch of play, that girl is AFCON best, WAFCON best, MVP everywhere. You will be giving her short time to work.
Yeah, I think the coach actually had an idea. There are some coaches that feel, this particular player is going to be an impactful player.
Impact player for what?
Impact player. And if you check anytime Rashida Ajibade comes on as a substitute, she's always impactful.
So you see, that's a problem for me.
Chances.
I'm sorry, that's
she's
a problem.
creating chances. But if he's working for the coach, maybe he feels
so some coaches they need to give them better oligos koboko sometimes. Why? That girl is just 26.
Can I have that vuvuzela?
You won't collect her now. You won't collect my trumpet. You won't collect my trumpet. Who you they blow for?
Now let's go over.
No. Let me just say this.
There are also some other girls who actually made us proud.
Oh, you keep my Rashida joy.
There are also some other girls who made us proud, over the weekend. And if we talked about Rashida Ajibade, we will not end this show.
Okay, we'll not. So
precisely.
I get you. Okay, so
some
you
other
want me to branch
girls.
another place?
Khadija,
Khadija.
Before we'll go to Victoria, before we enter basketball. Basketball is our major topic for today, right? Those girls, basketball. A lot of things going on in the world of basketball. Khadija, Bonnie Shaw, yes.
When you call her Khadija, I always think that she's one girl from Castina.
The Jamaican girl, yeah, Bonnie Shaw. At the World Cup in Australia, that's when we saw
That's
how
how she
what she
announced
can
herself,
actually
oh.
announce herself
Reggae
to the world.
girls.
But then in Manchester City, I mean, this is a girl in 18 matches here. She scored 18 goals, and not just that, she scored a hat trick against Tottenham Hotspur. Tottenham Hotspur also formed part of our topic for the day, right? Yeah, because
No, it's not my
scoring
topic. I
against
beg.
them.
I don't talk
But
about
then-
losers. I don't talk about losers on the beginning of the week. Or yourself. I don't
Okay.
talk about losers.
Yeah,
Back to Bonnie Shaw.
I know. But sometimes some losers will get honorable mention.
Yes.
We'll get there later.
Yes, but you see the Bonnie Shaw
honorable
thing.
mention will come in.
No.
But what the good thing about Khadija Shaw is the fact that scoring a hat trick in
The fastest,
13
by the
minutes,
way.
the fastest in WSL. That's the Women's Super League. I mean, no one has ever done that in the league. I mean, a 12 league team. I mean, Manchester City are not just topping the league. They are building something that is remarkable. They're on the verge of actually winning the
before you
league,
start, they say
taking it away
building.
from Chelsea,
And yes,
that's which is really remarkable
before
for them.
you
So that
start,
hat
they say
trick
they are
is actually
building.
her fourth in a row. Is like when she sees Tottenham, the hat trick comes. That's what it's looking
That's
like.
true, Sha,
Once
that's
she
true.
sees Spurs and the hat trick comes, and then she wear her shooting boots, and whenever she's with the ball, there's no missing.
So you
and
see
that's
the-
what
you see
happened.
the
That's
thing.
why
You see the
she
thing.
is getting our attention. Some of
see the
those
thing
players
with
that we have signed on the
Bonnie
weekend.
Shaw, you must talk this your talk finish. Oh. Even if person don't cut you go talk and finish. You go
Yes,
put it-
it has to. I had to learn.
you have to learn.
You can't be halfway.
Can't be halfway.
I've learned
But
so
see
you can pick it up from there.
Okay, thank you. Can I?
Okay.
Can I?
Yeah, you can. Yeah.
Thank you very
can.
much.
Mhm.
Well, shake your hand. Thank you very much. Don't do that. But this Bonnie Shaw gist,
Yeah.
I don't know if people understand how big this girl is.
Yeah.
The Jamaicans didn't really used to play football before. Now, because of her and her antics, that's when people started believing in Jamaica being able to be a
Yeah.
football nation, not just an athletics nation.
Nation.
I think she's had just under 70 appearances, and the amount of goals she scored, my God. That girl just they bust goes up and down. It's almost aura for aura. Do you know that I checked an interesting stat for Bonnie? When they talk about building for Bonnie Shaw, I like to say people don't really understand how big the legacy she has. She's the first Caribbean player to be voted as the main player in the CONCACAF.
Yes.
That's a region that nobody really rates. She not only is the Golden Boots holder back to back for the women's
CONCACAF,
WSL.
Yeah.
She's one of those that ought to be collecting that big box money that they are giving to people like what's her face, that girl for Chelsea. Yeah, now Bonnie's supposed to be the first people that would even give those kind of big money.
I think it's the move. When you make a move from the Women's Super League in the US and then you're coming to WSL in England, the
They
move
price you
alone,
less or they price you more?
no, it's higher because there's just this. When the Women's League started, the Americans had it. Germany.
It's true.
You go to Sweden, Germany, and of course the US were the three major leagues that we had at that time.
Yeah.
I mean, the Americans did the league in a way that
Collegiate.
people want to embrace it from
Yeah.
the collegiate system. But now the whole world is actually leaving them. Well, I hope they're going to do what the
better step up,
WNBA players
because they're on
have
his
done.
flat now.
Now, what is happening now? Spain saw that, yes, in Women's League, they can actually make money. England saw it. And even Manchester United, that didn't have a Women's League before, had to chip in, had to start their own Women's League. So they saw what it's bringing. And then they've taken it away.
The
Now,
quality.
the balls, the eyes are now on England. So that is why any player that is making a move to England, the money will be coming in because the TV right deals that Sky Sport had with them is bringing in so much money.
popping up,
So
oh.
when you're bringing so much money, we talked about
And you're scoring fast hat tricks like that.
Hani
7 hat
Alexis-
tricks already.
Hani Alexis for Serena Williams'
Yeah.
husband. The money that he is pumping into
Chelsea,
for instance. So now the money is coming in. So when you're signing a player, of course the money will follow. So that's what is happening.
Bonnie needs to get more money for the
Khadija
things
is
she's doing,
29 now, if she's making a move to maybe another team within WSL, she's going to earn more money, or maybe want to go to France, or maybe
No, rumor has it that she might come to Chelsea because the
that's what I
Americans are
heard
trying
too.
to do what
To see what they can actually.
yeah, because-
And also Jennifer Chegin, there's also
I hope
transfer
she's-
rumor that she's also going to Chelsea.
God.
But not all the players go to Chelsea. We all know that.
See,
These
you
are
get
rumors
money,
until
we get money.
But let's
At
go back. Let's go back to
to
Jennifer. Yeah, let's go
Jennifer,
back
to
Khadija. Yeah.
Khadija,
Yeah.
amazing. Bonnie Shaw, she's dope. I think that she's one to be praised for
Yes.
everything she does and the revolution she they use with her book, her leg walk till they do, and that's a great one. I think if they get to take the power of Sonia Bonpastor's ladies Chelsea, it's probably due to her goals, because she has almost 65% of the goals that Man City are using to climb and sit top of table. Now then get them. But one thing when we say sweet me also, another fantastic player over the weekend. And that is because I'm Nigerian. And when I see big games, the biggest games in the world, I want to see a Nigerian, an African, or a West African, somebody with African descent there. And back in the day, it used to be the Diarras of the world, used to be the Eto Waka everywhere. Etos of the world. It used to be the Makalili's of the world. But now I can say Ademola Lookman, forget said the Roy Blancos, they beat them. He is that guy.
Yeah.
He's a world-class star. Ademola Lookman scored in his first Madrid Derby. And it was not just that he scored, Cece. It was a build-up play from the Gugliani. It was the read from the back, from the deep. He's old. You go think 2 players were in front of him.
Yes.
He could have done that second at the average African striker or
the average player. No, don't use Africa.
No. Our style. No. African footballer. African footballer.
Players. Football
they
players.
Like they always want to do grab ball.
No, some players wouldn't have done that. We know some players that wouldn't have done that.
See, how many players would do what he did? Hold that ball, draw other guys into the game, feed it to his left. And then cut in again so that Iman Gugliani, they go link up, play tower. Then he go come collect and whip up again. Easy ball. Intelligence.
So at the end of the day, this is all about Ademola Lookman and his style. So when you say South American players, that's what I don't agree with. But shout out to Ademola Lookman.
How many strikers?
How
many strikers
in 11 goals? As in, there's some strikers that but do not narrow it down to Africa. That's what I'm telling you. There are strikers who will do that, but there's some things Ademola Lookman does. He knows how to do those things that he does, and that's what we appreciate him for. And that's why I say immediately he came to Atletico Madrid, it was a fit in. And the fact that he was the one who started the scoring, you told me something behind the scene that maybe if the coach had not subsidized him, maybe he would.
He removed himself to come out Julian Alvarez. That boy went not lawyer. They just score 1-2 goals. Don't begin to open anybody can come
I know where the story is coming from.
Chelsea.
Thank you.
Okay, boy.
It ends there. So Ademola Lookman, fantastic play he did at the weekend. I mean, I'll give him that, and I hope that also continues. So another player also.
Sorry. Last thing for Lookman. Every time I go to the grassroots teams, the community teams, they always say, "Who's your role model? Who's your role model?" And maybe because of the publicity that people like the Osimhens of the world get, they always go to that. But I think if you're a young developing footballer, especially in these parts, you should be looking at the ball movement and understanding from people like Lookman. Because I think if you want to make yourself impactful,
is the kind of wing he plays. It's the kind of wings he plays.
He drops back. It's the intelligence. It's the creativity. It's not. You know the best people in fields. They say the best people in different fields.
Creative midfielders.
Not just the creative. The people that know that they have plenty things, but they know how to restrain themselves. The best chefs not view the pack ingredients well. And that's something that Lookman has done so well that I feel like whether you're a male or a female soccer football player, you just have to know how to be instinctively reading the plays of your guys and not packing everything at once.
In summary, he raised the ball intelligently and he tries as much as possible to put that in the field of play. Like he thinks, in his head, and he's thinking with his head, thinking with his feet, and everything rolls together. He's a very intelligent player. I think that's what we agreed on in this particular one, right?
I agree. We
agreed on this one.
So so
let's leave Lookman. Another player that got me talking is Tawa Awoniyi. We've seen a player who has faced lots of adversity and everything, the accident that happened, right now he scored his second goal.
Yes.
The fact that Nottingham Forest won, that's what I love about it. And the fact that they beat Tottenham Hotspur, just like you have seen, we talked about Khadija. I mean, Khadija for Man City scored a hat-trick and they beat Spurs 5-2. And Nottingham Forest, it was a battle of, I called it relegation battle before the game started. And it was relegation battle. And Nottingham Forest that we felt maybe they could go. But it's looking like they've moved above Spurs now. One thing about Tottenham is that they are chopping goals everywhere, from their female team to the men's team. Now for the female team, they chopped 5 against Manchester City, where we talked about Khadija, scoring the hat-trick against them. And then we have Tawa Awoniyi also helping them to chop 3 on the other side. And you saw what had happened here is the fact that Nottingham Forest that we're thinking just maybe they wants to go on relegation. It's looking like Spurs might just go on relegation because right now Nottingham Forest have been able to climb out of that 16th, and of course Spurs are 17th. So you look at the league table, look at what is happening, relegation battle. So Nottingham Forest might just escape relegation. Of course, we are all for Nottingham Forest to escape that relegation.
Who be we? Who be we?
Because
me or you? You they support. You don't not be your customer.
For me, obviously, because Spurs haven't done anything to actually warrant them staying in the Premier League this season. So we'll leave it at that. So Tawa Awoniyi, shout out to him for scoring second goal of the season.
A little birdie told me that the FA they are going to give him a fine for celebrating with the "I belong to Jesus."
Usually, when you pull off your shirt, you want to send out a message. You're ready to collect the fine. Just collect the card. Collect the whether it's religious, political. It's a rule. When you look at the rules, it says you're not supposed to display any political, religious, or anything. So what it shows that sometimes some players just want to forgo that, display what they want to display, collect the card, collect the fine, and then it goes like that. But they've already passed the message. I belong to Jesus, and I love that for him. Really,
Mr. Taiwa,
I love that
keep
for
doing
him.
what
Keep
you
doing
do
it,
because, guy, it's really big for me. First people I started seeing that kind of thing, it was Kaka them, and then
Jesus.
See, if you're about something, be about it.
Yeah.
You know, and most of the players are about this kind of life. I like how they project good, positive, energies. Especially the youngest when they come. And now, speaking of youngest when they come, the youngest when don't they crack but they come. This past week we saw our super duper the Tigress. By the way, they've given them their certificate too. They've given them their money.
Okay, wait. Well, no, they've not given the money. No, the money is trekking. The money has not arrived in their account.
You don't see when they show
the money is still the money.
They carry full certificate, give them. They come like landowner.
Okay.
No,
fact check. Now, wait, fact check. Fact check. Did
you not see
what
that big thing?
The certificate they gave them, one was for land, the other one was the MON. So the main thing, which is the $100,000, has not arrived in the account. It is still trekking. We don't know how long it's going to trek because according to the National Sports Commission, according to the National, it said it's in the final stage. They are processing it. So we're waiting for it to land in their account. At the moment, as at the last count, it is not in their account yet. Yes. National Sports Commission, once the money enters the account, they will blow the whistle.
Cece, wait first. You see this when you talk? I agree. Because I won't complain before, say, it's still the same. But the minute you put the dollars on top, I calculate my rent. I calculate some things. Not be lie. They will keep the land though. Give me the money.
First.
Just give me my money. Just be like the WNBA ladies. Just give me my money.
The land deals and all of them. But you know what? These are topics I really don't like talking about because they won a title. And then we saw how remarkable they are.
Yeah.
Historic moment they've done. I mean, how many teams have been able to win 4 in a row? It's difficult, or even 5 in a row. It's difficult to do. And of course, the Super Falcons, 10 titles.
Hey! Say it again.
Yeah, 10 titles.
That thing used to give me ear
No one come close. So the fact that you promised that I'm going to give you this, we expect, give them immediately. Don't make it a media friend. So even when you're giving them later, there's no big deal anymore because we've lost count. Because even some persons were saying when the story came out, people were asking, you mean they are just collecting even they're just giving them this now?
The way people that celebrated it when that thing was hot.
Time precisely. So even when you're going to give them later, do not make it a media frenzy. I mean, the whole ministry traveled to Lyon in France. I mean,
that was not the part that even
so
it was weird to me. See,
I felt it wasn't necessary, but that's not the topic for today. We're going to talk about their performance. Focus on the
they go somewhere now. But more Gishala to Sarah Oguki first.
Yes, we'll do that. Yeah.
Because at least the ministry came, at least the commission guys came, and when they came in with some things. They didn't bring everything, but at least they showed working. They showed the certificates.
What were the things?
Wait now, the certificates.
They were promised long ago. You're just giving it to them.
You did make her learn this thing because this thing when you they talk now, you they forget say 30 years take people when we say do Atlanta 96 before they get even paper for land.
Are we going to celebrate that really?
No, that's what I'm saying.
Precisely.
See, progress is progress.
Really?
Yes. Progress is progress.
You see,
these girls, I'm coming, I'm going somewhere.
Okay.
This is the first
time. Please reach quickly.
Quickly
reach that bus stop. It's taking longer.
I'm a woman who takes her time, but I arrive when I need to arrive. Don't rush me.
You want it to be like the money
Don't
of the
rush
Tigress.
me.
I mean, to trek forever.
Don't rush me. But I will tell you that our the Tigress, they did something that I had not seen in a national team for a while. Okay. For instance, our captain for football, he retired. He retired himself from the national team, right? True Stekong. Did fantastically well for the pundits' work for over the weekend. Yeah, he retired. No pomp, no circumstance, no party. But at least
because
Dr. Sarah
it's the way he retired.
And I ain't go down for example. But even if Nasser were captain, we should have a template for how people who have served us over time get to follow up. And I won't lie, as a mom myself, I was very pleased to see how Dr. Sarah Ogoke was eased out of the national team. She did the qualifiers. She knows that she doesn't have the stuff in the legs again to power up into the main tournament for the World Cup. But guess what? She played in the qualifiers. Her numbers were low compared to where she was before. She managed only just maybe 2 rebounds per match. But Mama
she got her
did
3 points
her son saw her. She even had to speak on her retirement. She danced with the organs that be. She collects something small pali to tell you stay come out. At least the thing that they hold her. She held it. And even better for me was the fact that she could explain to her son that you may not understand that this is a big deal now, but son, this is what I have done. and you were here to witness or part of it. So
Some of it.
I love it for
Okay,
her.
yeah.
Because you see, we need to start putting ourselves and our
Yeah,
stories.
okay. Yeah, I love that. You know, when you were trying to compare with True Second, that's what was going to come in here. You know, it depends on how you retire. Sarah Goke timed the occasion. I felt
there's
should have
timing in this
she
thing,
timed the occasion and felt okay. She's going to play her last game, you know, against Germany, and of course they didn't have a game. You know, before after they played France, they had a day off to rest on Monday, and of course Germany was going to be on it. So she announced her retirement that evening,
As it dey
on
hot.
the eve of
As
that,
it dey
so,
hot.
which was timely. So there is nothing, there is no way they won't celebrate with her, because National Sports Commissions, the DG and the chairman, they were there, and of course the SA
They
to
even
the
danced.
president. The
I was
SA
just
to
like,
the president,
it was so weird to me
on
to see our
spot
people dancing together.
was also there. So that, you know, actually created that. Just imagine True Stekong had gone to the Nations Cup, and of course he retired at that. He also gets the same thing. That's the feeling. So I think it depends on how you retire. That's how people will celebrate you. Just imagine, we're talking about Onome. I wouldn't want to drag her into the conversation. Now, for instance, maybe she announced her retirement
Zone, for instance,
immediately after the World Cup,
Ooh,
when she was
boy.
celebrated. You know, it would have been big. So that's why we talk about timeliness. You timed when you want to announce your retirement, and that helps, you know, in people projecting it or not. For instance, we are looking at Victor Osimhen, for instance. If Victor Osimhen wants to make his announcement, for instance, from international football, maybe he has played his last game. I don't know if he's going to spend his
we have like 10 years old.
Maybe he has played
2,000 years.
Yeah, maybe he has played his last game for Galatasaray. Also played his last game for the Super Eagles of Nigeria. Maybe at a particular World Cup, no matter where the stage will reach, he can decide to say, okay, I'm calling it quits. And you know the buzz that is going to follow. So this is actually an advice to all our upcoming players, outstanding players out there, athletes. I mean, both all athletes. I mean, whatever game you're playing, be it badminton, be it a golf, whatever game you're playing, tennis. Just know that if you want to retire, let it be at the peak where people will celebrate with you. You can take a template, borrow a template from Sarah Ogoke, what she actually did. That also sent the message across the world. Everywhere. Congratulatory messages was coming from everywhere. And that was something, you know, players can actually take away from. Just know that, yes, when you're retiring, time the occasion and let people celebrate with you. That will, you know, stay more, you know, in the minds and the eyes of the fans than anything else, really.
I love that. That's really well put, Cece. Now, in case you're just joining and passing and you follow this conversation to this stage, I'll tell you that we speak on the things that interest us in different parts of the sport. It's not just here one way. And this is Cece, the lady who speaks with the facts. My G. Collect her. Boko, you better use our FC. If you want to say Boko, you have to use
Chief Boko.
If you put Chief on top of Boko, I will bite you and you go back.
You have to tell me the difference now.
No, there's Boko.
Okay.
Talk.
Okay.
The name.
It's Chief.
Not thank you.
Okay.
You don't know me, Rich Road Worry, so you're not supposed to do me like this for front of streets. But for you can follow the conversation. We have so many variety of sports content that you can catch on this particular platform, Sports Fiber. But if you're just strolling into this space, this is the Cece and Chief Swore Show, and this is where weekly we break down stuff that affect a different ways in different parts of sports. As long as there's a Nigerian, African, West African, we are interested, especially. And one part that really interested me was the breakdown for the play as it went down in France for the ladies. For our Tigers.
Yes.
Because you see, they were in a group that ideally they should be number 2, number 3 at most.
Number 3. Number 8 in the world. It was only France that was actually above them in that group.
Baba, we don't beat top 7 before. We don't beat top 8 before.
But so we couldn't do that this time around.
They go somewhere. So when we get a group like that and we are struggling with Asian teams that are made up of college-age kids, and we have the kind of card that we have, when we get a group where we say, okay, we happy say we beat South American team, it's okay. Colombia. We don't see our mates now. We got big performances from people like, what's her name, Mojanatu, Victoria Macaulay. Victoria Macaulay coincidentally even made it to the top 5 All-Star players for that qualifier, which is a big deal because in that All-Star there was Anderis, there was Paige Buckers, there was Caitlin Clark, there was Williams from Gabby Williams from France, where we say take us to shine. You know, people there, but our girl made it there.
Made it to the All-Star team, from the FIBA qualifiers.
What I took away from that was we have old legs now. in our squad. Yes.
Yeah, we need to beef up.
Basketball is fast for women.
Yeah.
And if this qualifier showed me something, the way we shone
Our
in the last
fast breaks.
Our fast breaks. It
Are
was
no
only
longer
Musa
there,
that
yeah.
was able to. Musa probably because she they play for WNBA now. She was a crazy beast in the East when we say she go for France for the what they call them, and then she moved to Phoenix Mercury, and you could see that whenever they infused her, at least it gave people like the
energy she brings in.
Chance, the Ezine chance to breathe. Yeah. But after the first press, and we start slow usually, by the second quarter, third quarter, almost
usually fourth quarter we're tired out. I mean, that's what the coach actually alluded to.
Do you know we have the oldest squad at the tournament?
She alluded to something.
29 years plus.
Yeah, she added.
When people they carry 22-year-olds.
She alluded to the fact that the slow start is affecting the team.
Yeah.
I mean, where do we bring the slow start? You look at these players. These players have been there from 2015. Yeah. And look at what we've done. We've not been able to infuse new legs
Musa
into
is
it. Yeah,
from
Musa
Nigeria,
is the last base from
that
Nigeria.
Followed Air Force guests to Lagos, where she take the MVP for.
But if you take a look at the thing, what can Rena Wakama do? Is this really her own doing? It is not. If you check what she did, I mean, this is the first time we had a roster. She brought out a large roster and they had players to pick from. Yeah. So now you don't have time. Even the German coach complained about it at the time we will have it with these players. That's why they actually love this FIBA World Cup qualifiers. Even those that have qualified can be a part of this. Was because usually they have just 4 days. 4 days before tournament start. They have 4 days with all their players. Now we have a squad whereby we'll pick from the US, we'll pick from France, we go to South America, we go to Asia, we pick. Now we are picking these guys from around the world. You're going to put them together in 2-3 days, and then you called a list of, was it 23 or 30, about 30 players that she called. So how do you work with these players and get the one for you? Now just imagine you have a federation who can say, you know what, let's open a camp like they did the last time. Yes, we called it that it was actually for a national team, it was low. It was a low. But then you actually need that when some of those girls when they didn't want to play for Nigeria at a point because of the money they were owing them.
No, because so the reason, no, those one
of those reasons. Okay, let's use the word when they were bullied out of the squad. So what they did was that they did an open camp. Everybody, if you know you can play basketball, come.
Yeah.
Now they need to do that again.
So
open. Wait, let me. I'm going to a point. Yeah.
If they do open camp, it would be nice to see. If you say you are the top girl in the local one, in the abridged version that they play, you know, which they were talking about it, and they were speaking on people like the Wando, those MFM babes that, okay, they brought them in the preliminary list, and then they just ease them out. I'm like, okay, you don't have quality enough.
When they ease out, if not, the thing you're going to say is,
if you are putting camp, why are you not carrying the girls from local? How do they learn?
Let me. That's what I'm saying. That's where I'm going to now. I've not learned. Let me learn. No, I usually allow you to learn. Now, if you throw an open camp, let all the girls come, and then the best players, you pick them up, you put them together and you train them. But where do you have the opportunity? You don't have it because the NBBF will not give you the opportunity. They haven't done that now since because they feel they already have a squad. You need to do that.
The squad
and now let's come on. When was it? The last time we have a viable league was before COVID, 2017 or 2018. That's when we had a full-fledged running league. What we have now is 2-month league, and then you expect players who haven't played for close to 7 months
in fact,
to be a part of
sometimes
a team.
It's just a couple of weeks in different places.
Yes, different places, and then you play your final 8, and then you select your final 2, and then whoever is going to the continent will go to both for men and women. And now you know there is a big bank sponsoring, you know, the women's basketball league. I felt since we have a bank as big, a brand as big as any bank sponsoring the league, we can have a league for 6 or 7 months. I don't know what the brand is demanding from them, but I feel that the brand should have value for their money. And how do you get value for your money? You have consistency. That's what we've not seen. When you don't have consistency, how do you push the league forward? How do you project these players? How do you get your best players out to represent you at the world stage when they are not playing games? So that's the big question. So the big question now is, what can Nigerian Basketball Federation do to ensure that we have fresh legs, add to the new ones that we have, the old ones that we have going into the World Cup? So Cece, the ball is right now in their court.
I'm sorry, you said Nigerian Basketball Federation. Is it the same set of people that are still fighting whether they will extend their stay or they will reduce their stay?
They have agreed on that. They've extended it till after the World Cup. So after the World Cup, they will leave. But for now, before the World Cup, they have a final thing to do.
It's
because
4 years
we will say categorically that this is for me. I don't know every other, but for me, this is the worst federation we've ever had in terms of basketball. Because my first love, was actually basketball.
Every
it wasn't football. It wasn't football. It was basketball. That's when I started following sport. So I usually go to the National Stadium, Surulere, weekend, Saturday, Sundays, because then I used to work Mondays to Fridays. So Saturday, Sundays,
to
watch
relax.
basketball games, and I enjoyed it. I still miss the
First bank.
no.
See,
I
babe.
still miss the
Oh.
the sandwich that we get. That
Oh, that
you
one that
buy.
used to do in the stadium.
Do you understand? I
No,
still
that
miss
way.
it because
you know push for that sandwich. Your belly strong.
Customer. No, I didn't, because the woman, there was one elderly woman that was creating magic. Yeah, creating magic out of that you can't help but just want to eat that toast bread. No, it was that toast bread was great. So you go there, you sit down, you enjoy your toast bread, you watch a game of basketball,
you see parents
and you go
bringing
home.
their kids.
Bring
You
your
don't
kids.
see people
It
just
was
pass through.
fun.
It used to be a
and then
thing,
Kwesi
though.
now came. Then it was being shown on
that was
DSTV Live.
Kwesi
Then
started,
Kwesi now came in,
Yeah.
and then before you know it, the fight started. Whatever happened, I don't want to know. But after that, it's been years since the whole court case is ended. So how do we bring it back? How do we make it viable? How do you make the brand, the people who are putting money into basketball, to show that yes, let's showcase this brand? We want to see that again.
Put a pin on it, because I want to piggyback off what you're saying, because you see, something landmark happened this past few days, and it's still in women's basketball. And this basketball matter now for America, right? As my popsy back then would say, America. America, they do things. So the WNBA had a landmark CBA agreement, and all these alphabets now to say, my dear, if you have a daughter, cameraman, if you have a daughter who has a skill in basketball and manages to pass through the scholarship system, the colleges system, and God come bless your daughter, say she go WNBA, let me tell you, your daughter will be your first millionaire in dollars. Not be joke. Sister, am I lying?
No, you're not.
Am I right?
What is coming up?
In
now?
other words, a girl that we saw 4 years ago play in Lagos, play in Abuja, Mojanatu Musa, who plays now in Phoenix Mercury. In fact, I think she's the only current Nigerian girl in the Nigerian team roster that plays in the WNBA, is set in this new season to bona fide be an official millionaire. And walk me through that, Cece. This had to come from the president and Natasha standing their ground, saying that we are going to have another league on the side. Nneka Ogumike. Another Igbo babe where we say girl Lex for Anambra, by the way. They say, just give me my money. They stood on the business. And you see the thing for me, they were ready to let the main league crash, because they also built an alternative competition on the side, Unrivaled. And Unrivaled was so crazy with them Chelsea Gray winning. They even started a new format of 1v1 that's already gathering momentum.
Yes.
And people keep telling them that women don't want to watch, people don't want to watch women basketball. They don't make money. And these girls that have multiple degrees brought out the numbers and said, excuse me, sir. Yeah, who be the man when they bring the calculator? They calculate. Say, year 1, papa. Year 2, papa. It's not just the money that they make, my sister. Walk me through the process, because you see, they also made arrangements for pension, and even developing players that can't make the big money, you can still be taken care of. Cece,
there's something that came up. I'm trying to look at all the facts. Something that what Nneka Ogumike, this is what they've been fighting for years. She, when I was listening to her, she said she's tired of when she comes on air, she's going to talk about the things that they are still fighting for. But now you're not going to talk about things that they're still fighting for. Things are working. Things are looking up. Now, when you have players who are collecting about 9% of what comes up from what the league WNBA is receiving,
they're making money off you.
They're making money off you, and you're not getting money. And then they tell you that, look, people are not watching basketball. But at the end of the day, you look at NBA. I'm not trying to compare, but you look at NBA. The players get 40 to 48% of what comes from the revenue sharing formula. You look at NFL, same thing happens. Then you look at all other leagues, across the US, NFL also in the US. So now they've talked about, just give us something more. And what are they asking? 20%. Is it too much for revenue sharing? I think that's something that's happened, which they've decided, okay, you know what? We'll give you this. And of course, talking about the money, salary cap had to be like 1.4. So I think you can get a player that can earn as much as 7 million, in a year. And not only that, the fact that, sometimes...
Please repeat that money, because God, you don't get a player... Do you know that it was just a few days ago that women in football started getting 1 million per year? For inside Women's Soccer League. What do they call it? Women's Soccer League. Women's the one for England.
Women's Super League.
Women's Super League. And now basketball women doubled it up. Continue, please. Cut the money. Imagine.
Okay.
Imagine now, no one with me.
Yeah, let's use Caitlin as an example. Now, I'll get it from ESPN. Caitlin, for instance, in 2024, Rookie of the Year, she made $78,000 in 2025, and now she's poised to see her salary jump from that 78, less than $100,000, less than $80,000, jump to as high as $330,000 in 2026. Now, this is what everybody is talking about. Now, the overall pick, for instance, if you have an agreement with this, an overall pick in 2026 is projected to earn as much as $500,000. So this is something they all want to do, because before now, we didn't see it like that. WNBA players have been worst hits, especially they had to go overseas to play basketball during breaks to earn more money. Some of them are running 2 jobs. I mean, when I went to this exchange program, U.S. government does with a women's basketball team, is that when I went for one of their programs, players were talking about how they had to work 3 jobs.
Yes. So.
One told me about, I don't want to mention some of their names, told me about how, when she's finished training, she runs 2 jobs to be able to pay light bills.
Yes.
And, it was that bad. There was one who said she had to move back to her mother's house when she couldn't continue paying her bills. I mean, this is a player who played in the WNBA. This is what we're talking about, 2018,
and they're educated though, because 90% of the babes that play there are college educated.
And
like
100%.
Actually 100, because like everybody know
college. Yeah, exactly. So if you from the collegiate system that you get your players. So now these are the things we're talking about. So now they don't have to run 2 jobs or even an extra job or run overseas to go play basketball. Because I remember when Sarah Ogoke was talking about her cultural shock. Her cultural shock she got when she went to Angola to play. She was strengthening coach, conditioning coaching. Where is that coming from? She didn't see any of the facilities or because she was already used to that kind of like when she was playing in college. But now that cultural shock that happens in Angola was something she hasn't experienced before. Now some players will tell you in WNBA that some of them don't even have a good training facilities. They'll be training in facilities. They'll tell you that a birthday party is going to take place. They have to hurry up and leave. We're talking about WNBA. So now, some of these things that are coming up is the fact that now you must have the facilities. You must have your 12 players, not just where 11.
Provide accommodation.
And then have 2 extra players
for the development.
And then the biggest of it is that sometimes a player gets pregnant and they can just trade them once they get pregnant. I mean, you trade them to maybe
girls used to hide the fact that they were pregnant.
Of course, they
will keep their pregnancy
until they can no longer hide it. But now when they discover
and they go for this one for Lagos. Choma when get belle, when he don't finish, the elephant girls don't win trophy finish. They say, hey, my people, I get belle.
Yeah, because they get traded. So now they're protected. Now they'll have to seek your consent before you're being traded. Yes, you can be traded, but you have to ask the player, because you might be trading the player to another city that she's not even. Maybe this is where she wants to stay in Lagos, where you're trading her. Maybe she's in Phoenix, and then you want to trade her to LA Sparks.
I know what place. So if they trade you, what happened?
So what happened to LA Sparks? So at the end of the day, you're moving from your home to somewhere else because you've been traded, because you want the money.
Now you have a say.
But now you have a say. So if you want to be traded, you have a say before being traded. There's also the protection during pregnancy, and also they also protect us. So when you come
get
back,
money even if you're not playing.
Yeah, even when you're not playing. So when you come back, you still have your just wait for it. So if you're not now fit to continue playing, then it's fine by then. They're not okay. It was you were not fit enough to continue playing. But there's no longer the fact that she's pregnant, we can just trade her to another team. It doesn't happen anymore. So this protected deal is actually what I love about the WNBA. So for every girl who feel I want to play basketball but I want to make money, but now you have opportunity to say, okay, I can play basketball
fully on basketball,
and focus on basketball without having to travel, because there's some players who are actually afraid. Those who are doing 2-3 jobs are those who don't want to go overseas to play basketball during the breaks.
It's true.
They want to keep playing. They want to stay in the US and play basketball. Now you can have them staying, playing basketball, earning the money what they deserve, because we talk about Caitlin, what they brought into the league. Chelsea Gray, what they brought into the league. And then Reese, Angel Reese, what they brought into the league.
And Floje just finished for LSU. So as she's coming into the league, it's going to be crazy.
She's guaranteed 500,000. I mean, it's going to be more than that because of what she's done.
More
draft. So these are some of the things we really want to talk about. And we want to also replicate across all sports.
Speaking of replicate, pause the thing. Replicate this week went past. Jill L is the former coach for Inside. We did round this thing up, by the way, but it's the money time, and the money time is very important because you see, as it's happening everywhere, don't think that it can't happen in Africa. Don't think that these decisions don't have a ripple effect as it stands, because Jill Ellis the other day, the former coach for the women's national team for America, who is now leading in FIFA, stood on business. She has been saying she was going to do it since, but she stood on business, and FIFA has written it into a law now that every single team, when gets in a women national team, no matter the age, from the ones that are old to not so old to underdeveloped, you must have a female coach. Not just that, at least one assistant when we say be female.
Female.
Then a female inside your medical team. Because as we know, we've watched these teams in close quarters. We went to the WAFCON where big say, now doctor when they treat women, a man for women team.
Yeah.
Some teams actually carry mostly men.
And that's what I love about what we do in Nigeria. You know, when we talk about, when we talk about this gender equality, the gender gap, and I think Nigeria actually projects
they do very well with it.
Very well. Because if you check the Super Falcons
we've been
squad,
the first.
Yeah, but we check the Super Falcons squad. I mean, check the Super
women
Falcons
for the medical team.
Yeah, women physiotherapists, all of them are all women. So we just and then look at the coaching crew. We have a Anchejin, a part of the coaching crew.
There's always been a woman.
There's always been a woman. So we've never Morimandu, of course.
There was a
Morimandu, there was even a time that you have all female coaching crew. Remember what happened on Magbemi? Yes, when we went to, I think it was in Cameroon. Yes, in Cameroon in 2016 or 2017 in Cameroon. Yeah, that Nations Cup. I mean, you check Morimandu, you check Florence Magbemi, all of them, and changing. You have all female crew. So that's what I love about that. If they can borrow a leaf, I mean, FIFA may have seen that in Nigeria, for every women's team that we have, there's always the men. I remember when I was media officer for the under 20 women's national team. Like the doctors, the physiotherapists, they're all women. And then the goalkeeper trainer happens to be the only man. We have the head coach as a man, the assistant head coach as a man, but you have 2 women in the technical crew. So at the end of it, now have 3 of them in the technical crew. So which was a plus for everyone. I love what we're doing, in Nigeria. And I hope other countries can actually borrow a leaf from us. And another thing is, as of 2019, when people were still talking about equal pay, Edo Queens were already having equal pay.
But they were the only ones.
They were the only ones. And then Nassau Amazons now picked up. No, I'm just talking about how it picked up. Nassau Amazons now picked up and say, you know what? Let's use the civil servant salary scales. Whatever the guys are receiving, we also be receiving. So these are some of the things we wanted to rub off.
By the way, after Ogasho come out, that equal pay.
No, we didn't do it. Okay, have you seen?
Never seen
it's something that we have to stay, because this is something they've discussed over time. This is something that we say is a salary scale. It's not something you come up to say you want to stop it. They've already signed the deal. So it's a deal and it stands. So that equal pay, it's something we're taking away. That's why I say we can also borrow a leaf from Nigeria. What we're doing, why people are still fighting equal pay. You already have people who decided to, you know what, these girls deserve something better, and then they're already doing it. But what we are now preaching is facilities. Yes, we know it also happens to the guys. Like what we talked about WNBA, when they signed the deal, they talked about facilities. These are some of the things. Traveling too. You don't want
they now have chartered flights instead of having so can the girls start using chartered flights that's kept and it's like that's the rule. Don't be letting them use commercial. Because there are a few things that make people excellent. One time, because say if we start this talk, we no go finish. As we tie the thing come out, I think it's key for us as Africans to look at the positivity. As much as there's negative stuff out there, there's still some things that give us reasons to smile. And as a Nigerian, I'll say that please, our African people, especially now when we say they don't put a new law for FIFA, don't act like they are not qualified women out there. And just because you gave one an opportunity one or twice doesn't mean that you should ease them out of the system, because that's been a thing. For instance, Omagbemi was eased out of the system. Imaju was eased out of the system. Eukaria Uchi was eased out of the system. Congratulations to women across board. Women's Month. Okay. We are having some monumental, major moves, legislation-wise, especially in sports. For us Africans, I'll just say, stop trying to ease the women out. Put them in the system. Keep them in the system. One thing I like in our NFF, as much as you see people like Cerezo. If he's not technical director, he is wanting of this one. He's in the system. He's through the system to do other things. A few others too, like Finidi George and the rest. They from one side, they move to the other. Yeah. But for the ladies, the minute they do one tenor for one person, they don't pursue them like a one fly come out. That's not good enough. That doesn't give you sustainability. Doesn't give you this consistency. And it doesn't help you build your legacy projects.
And also your brand. And that's what we're looking at. So if you want to build your
because
women...
you see Madu now, our Justin Madugu, rather. He was in the system since. He was the one that discovered a lot of talents. People don't know that Odega from Benway, he was one of those that saw her. And he has been in the system for over 25 years. So if you can let the guy men ease, fill up, find way to find a way. Let the women to find a way to find a way.
As long as they're good enough. Once they're good enough, give them the opportunity.
My sister,
that's the caption.
On this note, people of God and people of sports, I hope we have convinced you and not confused you that sports on the continent is live in charge and Africans are balling and doing what they need to do. Hopefully by next week, please do not mention any team when we say they train for Cobham for this seat. Make I warn you.
Okay, Chelsea considered 12 goals in how many days?
Warn yourself. Anyway, we'll catch you next week, and hopefully we have more things to break and discuss when it comes to the world of sports with a little bit of sass. I'm Chief Swore, and this is... You know, go call your name now.
I'm Cece.
You just want to shake me. Collect it.
I actually want to take that vuvuzela away from you and blow you off the set.
I will not be blown off the set in my name of the Lord. Anyway, thank you so much. Please keep subscribing to Sports Fiber and catch you on the next one. Boku.